1 to 2 weeks with a groin strain. Meanwhile, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander might have ended the MVP conversation, dropping 40 in the 127-103 win against the Denver Nuggets. Jokic had 24 and 13. The two teams face off tonight again. Here's Tim Legler on this red-hot Thunder team. Timmy.
I believe they're the favorite to come out of the West, and I think you can make a great argument. This is the favorite to win it all. They've been the most complete team, I think, in the league all season with their body of work. It's the cleanest sheet. And their defensive dominance and where they are, number one in defending the three, number one in defending the paint, number one in converting turnovers into points. So they do it in so many ways defensively, it gives you a chance every night. I didn't think they were ready a year ago, Dave, when they were the 1 seed. I didn't look and feel like a championship caliber team. This team feels a lot different.
Shay Sharp, talk to me. Who had the better weekend, OKC or Boston?
I'm going to go OKC. Like I said, the other night, they gave their top 4 guys the night off, and it was their role players that did the job, and they won. And they won yesterday. It's how they won. With a 41-point fourth quarter against the Denver Nuggets. And look, we know Denver is not an outstanding defensive team, but man, Shai doing what he does. You get Jalen Williams, and you got 3 or 4 guys off the bench that can consistently give you 20 points. They've been very impressive. Like Leg said when he was talking last night, they've been equally as impressive because it looks like we're going to have 2 teams winning that might win 70 games. We've never had that before. But OKC, with the way they're playing, and Shai, most 20, 30, 40, 50-point games, the consistency in which he's playing. Jalen Williams looked like he's going to be an all-NBA player this year. They got 2 big guys that can battle you on the glass, that can challenge shots, and defensively, they can defend on the wing. You bring in Isaiah Joe, Wiggins can score. You got Lou Dort. Man, OKC, I was very, very impressed. I got 5 on it.
How about Jason Tatum this weekend?
Sensational.
You know, last week they had that.
On LeBron and Luka, 40. 40.
They lost that game to Cleveland. They've got some issues with the way they can hold the lead. That's why they're vulnerable. But Tatum scores 46 in that game against Cleveland last weekend. This weekend, the Lakers are flying high. He comes in there just, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't even think he played an A-level game.
He did it.
I mean, he had 40. Tremendous. And also, I applaud Shannon for pointing out the depth because he is exactly right. The difference between these teams at the top and the teams that are fighting to get there is that depth. And Al Horford is a piece of that depth. This is a guy who's about to turn 39 years old, who was the centerpiece of a game plan against one of the hottest teams in the league. And it was very prudent, and it worked very well. They used Al Horford as a weapon. They didn't have Kristaps Porzingis because he's been dealing with an illness. They need a big man against the Lakers, and they can just go to that gear with Al Horford. He can't do this every night. They don't need him to do it every night. But this is why the Celtics are going to be so hard to beat 4 out of 7, because they have the ability to go to an Al Horford. They have the availability to use Drew Holiday as an attack dog defensively. They have the availability to rely on Derek White when Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are having off nights. They have Peyton Pritchard come off the bench. Their redundancy and their margin for error is why, to me, they have remained the favorite to win this entire season.
I get where you're coming from. I understand it. But I'm going to go with OKC on this one. Did you see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who also didn't have the greatest game?
That's true.
But he still dropped 40.
He did.
Do you see, Malika Andrews came up with the nickname Shea Butter. I love it. Because, the brothers, but he is so special. This is who it is, MVP to be. Okay, should have been. He was my MVP last year. He's going to be my MVP this year. He's going to win it this year because he deserves it. And then you see Jalen Williams. I called upon him to come alive in the second half because SGA needs your help, baby. What does he do? He shows up in the second half. He does his thing. You see they got size. They got shot blocking ability. They've got defensive prowess. Look at this right here. NBA rankings in defense and hustle categories. Number 1 in defensive efficiency, field goal percentage defense, 3-point percentage defense, steals per game, turnovers forced per game, points off turnovers per game, deflections per game, loose balls recovered per game, charges drawn per game. Damn. This is the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I get what you're saying. OKC, UFC, KFC. OKC in 5.
How about
OKC in 5.
SGA MVP?
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
All right, guys, we got to leave it there because I've got a special treat for you coming up. Big men are getting some big deals this off.
20 games remaining for most teams. Teams 2 through 5 out west jam-packed together. OKC could clinch the top seed as early as this weekend. It really is inevitable.
All right, to that number 2 team in the Western Conference, LeBron James expected to miss at least 1 to 2 weeks with a growing strain. That, according to what sources are telling our Shams Charania. LeBron downplayed the injury after Saturday night's loss in Boston. Shams says the Lakers are bracing to be without him for a period of time and will be cautious as they hang on to that 2 seed out west. To dive more into it, NBA reporter Dave McMenamin joining the program. Mac-10, fantastic to see you. When could we get a clearer timeline on LeBron's recovery?
Gary, the Lakers training staff are allowing the groin injury